Hi, welcome to my knitting podcast. This is episode 12. My name is Madison, and I'm coming to you from New York City in my little apartment. I'm on my knitting couch where I am currently surrounded by so many things, so we have a lot to talk about today. If you are new here, I knit and spin and have recently gotten into weaving, so we're doing all the fiber things. And I went to Rhinebeck last weekend, and it was so much fun. So I have a lot of Rhinebeck goodies to share. I don't usually do acquisitions, so this will be fun to show off what I came home with. There's a lot of fiber, as if I don't already have enough, but it's fine. First, I want to talk about some finished objects. This is my sheep camp, which is a fabulous pattern by Jennifer Berg, who is the native knitter on Instagram and I think Ravelry as well. And I knit mine out of Farmer's Daughter Fibers, Pishkun DK, as the main color, the yellow. And the purple, I'll scoot up a little bit. The purple is handspun that I made from a batt and braid pairing from Artifacts of Appreciation. And I was obsessed with this handspun. I wish I had more. I wish I had more of the fiber, and I wish I had, Big fan of Artifacts of Appreciation. Her shop updates go so fast. I think she just had one. I completely missed it. Her and Melly Knits. I'm like, I can never seem to get in on the shop updates. Everyone buys it up before I can get there. The only modification that I made was shortening this color work at the end. I just kind of omitted a few rows because I ran out of my contrast color, which was handspun, and I couldn't get any more. So I think if I were to do it again, I would completely remove like this last triangle from the pattern, just because the yoke depth is pretty deep. Like, here's my armpit. So there's a lot of extra fabric right there. And yeah, I think that's like a common note about this pattern in general, is that the yoke depth is pretty deep, so it gets a little swan showy, which I don't mind. And I kind of did like a in between 3/4 length sleeve, like slightly longer, so it's very warm as is, and I am kind of just like, it's not gonna be something I wear under a coat or anything like that. It's kind of more of a fancy sweatshirt in my mind. Other notes on the sweater are I used the recommended needle size, which now I can't remember what that is, but it'll be in my Ravelry project, which will be linked below. I did not swatch or anything. I just did full send, started the sweater, but I did add length to it. The pattern is fairly cropped, so I added some length to the body there. And that's it. Was very happy with how it turned out. Was extremely comfortable to wear to Rhinebeck. I wore it on Saturday and had a lot of fun. My other finished object, which was my other Rhinebeck sweater that I made, is my self-drafted sweater. I want to call this my sheep sweater, flock of sheep. I'm not sure. I was getting confused with sheep camp and then sheep. I don't know. Anyway, very, very happy with how this one turned out. I wore this on Friday of Rhinebeck weekend, which was all of the pre-Rhinebeck indie events, and I'm so excited with how this turned out. So here's a close-up of the color work. The pink and this maroon contrast color are Purl Soho good wool. They're like fingering sport weight. Obsessed with the yarn. Honestly, if I could only pick one yarn to knit with for the rest of my life, it might be good wool. I want to make all of my sweaters out of it. It's just like, I don't know, it's just perfect. It's a delight to knit with, and it blooms up really nicely and is like rustic but still soft, and it just checks all the boxes for me, I think. The blue here is Magpie Fibers Plume, held double, which is their lace weight cashmere blend. I think there's other stuff in it, but it's super soft and just has like a nice little halo, kind of a fun fuzzy effect. Let me back up for one minute. The overall sweater construction is based off of Andrea Mowry's Alpenglow pattern, which was her Rhinebeck sweater for 2022, so last year. And I made the Alpenglow last year in a size 2, and it fits, but it's pretty close to like there being 0 ease, so I sized up and knit this off of her size 3 stitch counts. My gauge was pretty spot on for like what she called for the Alpenglow. Followed all of the Alpenglow's stitch counts and general construction, and that's where this chevron effect also comes from, but then the rest of this color work is self-drafted that I came up with. The sheep and the other motifs are, I think, based on some of the petite knitters patterns. The sheep are definitely kind of from that. I tried to make her Ovis sweater, and then I can't remember where I kind of pulled these other motifs from, but I wanted some like fun classic-y looking motifs that didn't have long floats. That was like the key, because I really didn't want to have to catch any floats, and I don't think I did. Let me turn my work inside out. Actually, the white and the brown of the sheep is also Purl Soho good wool. And then the rest of this color, or the rest of the contrast, is handspun that I made from a braid of Targhee that was dyed by 316 Dye Studio, who I got to see at Woolfolk and show her my sweater with her fiber in it, which was really fun. I totally forgot that I had used one of her braids for handspun in this sweater, and then luckily my sister Paige was there at the booth with me and was like, "That's your fiber in her sweater," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I totally forgot. I wanted to show you." That's all I have for finished objects. My spinning mojo has been crazy strong recently, so I really feel like I've been slow on the knitting, but I have a few whips that I want to show you, and then I have a bunch of lingering whips that will reappear on future episodes whenever I get back to them. But let me see, where should I start? I am going to start with the MKAL, which I think technically is considered over, so spoiler alert, but I'm also very, very much behind, and I think now that it's November, I don't know that I need to give any spoiler alerts, but I did show my yarns that I acquired for the MKAL in my last episode, so I wanted to give a little update on how it's coming along. And I'm really happy. I think I would have, if I had been shopping for the yarn in person. This kind of second color is a very, very light pink, and it's pretty close, like basically the same in value as the like cream white that I'm using. So I think I would have gone for a slightly darker pink for my second color, but it's whatever. So I have finished Clue 1 and then have essentially just started Clue 2. So I'm behind. I was trying to keep up. I really, really wanted to like stay on schedule this year, and I lasted about a week, and then I really got behind, and now it's just what it is. So I am excited to work on it still though. So it's not going to be forgotten. It won't take me a whole year, I don't think, like last year's did. So yeah, that one has been slowly tinkered on when I'm kind of in the mood. But I have a sweater that I'm working on, and I think as soon as I finish this, I will kind of go back to the MKAL full force. But I very spontaneously signed up for a test knit, which I don't test knit all that often because I don't really consider myself a fast knitter, and as you may know, I like to cast on a bunch of things and have 100 whips at once and just like work a little bit on everything. And yeah, so deadline knitting is tough for me, but I felt like this one was going to be a good test knit, and this is the Donna Jenna Pullover by Joanna. Oh wait, I didn't even say what my MKAL yarn is. So more details are on my last podcast. Sorry, quick side note. But all of this yarn is the Merino Singles Base by Sysleriget, which is how I say it. It's Danish. I don't know what the correct pronunciation is, but yeah. So if you would like to know more info about this yarn that I'm using, watch my previous episode. I talk about that more. And then I wanted to participate in Steven's Mohair Dare in Clue 2. So I picked up these two little mohair balls from Brooklyn General. They are, one is Tynn Silk Mohair. I think this is the Tynn Silk Mohair by Sandnes Garn, just in like an off-white color. And then this is Knitting for Olive Mohair, Silk Mohair, in a pink that I'm pairing with the red to kind of tone down the brightness of the red just for Clue 2, and we'll see. Anyway, back to my test knit. So this is the Donna Jenna Pullover by Joanna. I have been saving this pink Nutiden, which is what I'm knitting this in. Oh my gosh, look at the cables. Joanna is such a cables queen in my mind. I love her patterns. This is the first one that I've knit of hers actually, but I have so many of her patterns saved in my Ravelry favorites, my queue, and I had picked up this pink Nutiden. I can't remember which collection it was in, but I feel like it was really early this year, maybe, or maybe it was end of last year. I'm not sure. But had been saving it for a Joanna pattern specifically. And when I saw this test knit pop up, I was like, this is it. I have to do it. It's gonna be so pretty. And I kind of, threw my name in the drawing, I guess. Kind of just thinking like, there's so many people that are gonna apply for this. There's no way I will even get this test knit, so it'll be fine. I won't have to worry about it. And then she was like, congrats, you're a tester. It's gonna be so cute. I keep looking at it and it looks teeny tiny to me, but I keep trying it on and it fits. So we're just going with it. But like something about it visually, maybe it's because the cables haven't been blocked, but something just keeps like throwing me off visually, where I'm like, there's no way I can wear this, but then it fits when I try it on. So the specs are, I'm knitting this in Nutiden, held double. Oh my gosh, look at the cables. Cables are so fun, and these had some really long cables, and actually uses 2 cable needles for some of them, which was a first for me, but was very, very fun. And the yoke went so fast because it's just like, you just want to keep going and watch the cables grow. So I'm winding these balls of Nutiden, you know, ahead of time just to make things easier. I don't mind Nutiden held double. I've only tried to knit with it single once, and I haven't attempted that again. I don't think I would dislike, or I think I would like knitting with Nutiden single if I also held it with a mohair. But yeah, I was a Nutiden patron for the past year or so, and I actually this last week decided to end my membership of that, just because, one, I feel like I have enough Nutiden in my stash, and I have not really been shopping their updates for, I feel like, at least 6 months. So I figured it was just time to like let someone else have that spot. And knitting with unspun, I think, is fun. For me, it's fun every like now and again. I don't love it enough where I'm like shopping, you know, all of the updates. But anyway, so for needle size, I used a US 10 for the body. She calls for a 10.5 for the cables, which I didn't have, and I just used a 10, and I think it's going to be fine once. I think it'll look better after blocking, obviously, but after I got through all the cables, I was like, maybe I should have sized up to an 11. I don't know, just to give it some more airiness, but I think the 10 is fine. And then I am using the US 8 for the ribbing. And the sleeves will be stockinette with a kind of longer cuff. For the straight arm version, she also has a balloon sleeve version, which is super cute, but I am gonna do the straight version. And yeah, it's due soon, so I should have this as a finished object on my next episode for sure. I think it's gonna be a very wearable sweater for this winter, so I'm excited. My last whip, which I think is gonna lead us into Rhinebeck acquisition talk, and then I'm going to share some spinning stuff at the end, because I've been doing what I feel like is a crazy amount of spinning for me personally. Like my back was starting to hurt from like sitting at the spinning wheel for so long, so I was like, I have to take a break. I gotta cool it on that. So yeah, last whip, and then this will transition us into a Rhinebeck talk, because I started this over Rhinebeck weekend. This is the Oslo hat Mohair edition. It is my first time making an Oslo hat, and I really feel obsessed with this pattern right now. I don't know if it's just because I've been doing so much spinning that I'm feeling tired from that, and all I want to knit on is like a plain stockinette in the round project. But yeah, I'm like really loving this. So this is the folded brim. I watched Knit California, her video explanation on how to do this folded brim technique that PetiteKnit uses, and found it super helpful. That was by recommendation of my mom to watch that, and would also recommend that video, because just reading it, it's kind of hard to picture, at least for me, it was like hard to picture exactly what was going on with this folded brim situation, because it turns out to be a triple brim, since you've got this folded piece that you knit together, and then you kind of create this little ridge so that when you fold it up, it's like nice and slick. I just want to knit on this. So I picked this up at Pick Up Every Stitch in Mount Kisco, New York, which we as in my mom and my sister, we stopped at on our drive up from New York City to the Hudson Valley for Rhinebeck on the Thursday afternoon before the festivities started. So they had like a big podcaster afternoon knit together at the shop on that day, and we were kind of hoping, we didn't really plan to go to it, but we kind of were like, oh, let's just stop in Pick Up Every Stitch and like see what's happening and see if there's any, anyone left. But by the time we got there, the event I think had ended, so we just did some shopping instead, which was also the plan. And I love their Sandnes Garn selection. They I don't know, there's no local yarn store to me in the city that has a large selection of Sandnes Garn, and as much as I love like the more rustic farm yarn stuff, it is nice to just have a little Sandnes Garn project too. I think their colors are really great. I don't know, I just love it. So this is what I picked up, and this is their Sunday and the Tynn silk mohair. I got 2 skeins of each of these for the hat, so I'm not sure. We'll see how much longer this lasts me. And I'm knitting these on a US 3, which is what the pattern calls for. And yeah, I'm loving this. I bought this at Pick Up Every Stitch on that Thursday. We had a cute little Airbnb farmhouse in Socrates for the weekend, and so after we got there and got settled in, I casted on this hat that night and just knitted on it for the rest of the weekend, and have been going strong on it ever since. It's also been a really great subway knitting project. I usually have a pair of socks with me that I knit on the subway, but after taking this, I was like, oh, actually this hat is way easier because I magic loop my socks, so sometimes I feel bad pulling out the magic loop situation on the subway if it's crowded and then I'm like flinging my needles all around, but this is just quiet, easy. I don't have to worry about accidentally smacking anyone with a knitting needle. So I've really been into the hat vibe, the hat knitting recently, and I'm excited to keep going. I have my handspun Harlow hat that I featured on my last podcast episode, and that is still a whip. I haven't made a ton of progress on it, so I didn't think it was really worth showing here today because I think I have a lot of other things I want to talk about, but I am also feeling excited about that hat. And yeah, so we're in the hat knitting mojo now is where I'm at, and I've got this in my knitting Nelly bag, which I'm obsessed with. I also love that it kind of matches the project, so it's just like so cute. I don't know what it is, but all of my whips somehow are pink right now, which I'm not mad about. I think I gravitate towards pink a lot, which is funny because if you look at like my closet or like what I wear every day, I don't think there's like a ton of pink in there. There's a lot of blues and browns, But I love pink, and I just have been leaning into that recently, I guess. Okay, so Rhinebeck Hall. We had a fabulous weekend. I keep saying we, but I was with my mom and my two sisters, and it was just so fun. We had the cutest little Airbnb house, and I love all the towns up there. I love the Hudson Valley so much. And I don't know that I talked about it after I did it, but the weaving workshop that I went to is in Catskill, which is also where Woolfolk was, which was an event that happened. But I say that just to say I love Catskill and Socrates and Rhinebeck. They're all so cute. We went to all 3 pre-Rhinebeck events. So we started off at Indian Tangled, which was our first time going to Indian Tangled, and we loved it despite the rain. I thought it was a great event. We had the first time slot, and it was super easy to get there. It was on this like equestrian grounds, which I didn't know was there, and now I'm like, I want to go back and like watch horse jumping for fun, I think. Maybe next spring or summer. This bag came with the ticket, and it is just the cutest thing. So I don't know who the illustrator is, but they did a fabulous job. So we got that. It's filled with little, business cards and goodies and whatnot. And the only thing I purchased from Indian Tangled was fiber related from Bricolage Studios. There's the card in there. And I picked up 4 of these little kind of textury I don't know, what do you call these? They're she calls them just the bits. So it's a combo of silk noils and wool burrs, recommended for medium coarse cloth. So last year, Rhinebeck, I had my spinning wheel, but I hadn't really learned how to spin yet. So this year it was really fun to go to all the events, and I felt like I could purchase like all of the fiber that I saw last year, but like was too scared to commit to. So these I got for making bats, which has been a whole new fun experiment that I've been trying out. If you follow me on Instagram, there was like a 24-hour period last weekend where it was just like I was making bat after bat after bat. So I broke into this bag a little bit already because I wanted to use some of the silk in there, but so the silk is at the bottom right there, and then you've got the little wool burrs at the top. And yeah, I think I'm just gonna add these to some gray fleece that I have washed and make a little tweedy yarn out of it, and I'm excited. So this was my Indian Tangled purchase. I definitely want to go again next year. So from there, we did our little knitting time at the chill spot, and then we went straight to Cake Palooza, which was amazing. I feel like Cake Palooza, like the big ones for me that I always hear about are Black Pearl Magic project bags and Chelsea Yarns, of course. So going into Cake Palooza, I feel like those 2 vendors were the ones that I was like, I definitely want to shop there, and I did. So first up, this has another purchase in it, so don't look yet. Teasing for later. This is my Black Pearl Magic bag that I got. It's so cute. It's got the little glitter, little pink top. I was like trying to decide if I should go with the black sparkle or there was like a pink sparkly one. Decided to go with a more neutral. So yeah. you know, it zips. I think this could fit like at least 3 skeins, maybe 4 if you squeeze it in. I think this is like her medium-sized one. By the time we got there, we were in the second time slot for Cake Palooza, and I feel like the Black Pearl Magic booth was already pretty slim pickings. There were a lot of things already sold out, which is great, but I feel like maybe next year I want to go to Cake Palooza first and then Indy second. Not everyone do that. Don't take my idea. I'm just kidding. But yeah, so was really excited about this, and now that I've shown it to you, I can use it as a project bag. I am traveling tomorrow, so maybe I will take that with me on the go. And then, so Black Pearl Magic was first purchase, and then of course we all had to go over to the Chelsea Yarns booth, and look at this fun bag that she was handing out. I'm like, should I just start wearing this around the city? Make a statement? And picked up 2 skeins from Chelsea Yarns, which were her exclusive show colorway, which is the Akatar color, based on the books. And it's just so pretty. So it's got a lot of pinks and greens and purples. This is my first Chelsea Yarns purchase, and I can't wait. I think I'm gonna make another Oslo hat with this. It's her 80-10-10 base, yeah, which is 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. Gorge. And then this is her luxe mohair, so 72% kid mohair, 28% silk. So pretty. Really excited about this. I need to finish my other Oslo hat, and then I'm casting this on right away. Right away. Speaking of Chelsea Yarns, I ordered her Advent. When was that? That was like in April or May? I don't know. It was like really early this year, obviously, when they do the pre-order. It is I Heart New York themed, and I'm very, very excited. I've been thinking about patterns on what I want to make out of it. I really would like to make a blanket or throw of some sort, I think. And I've been looking at the Radvent throw, and I can't remember the name of the designer now, but it is a blanket, and then each square is a little lace square that grows out from the center, and then you do like a simple crochet join to join all the squares together. So if anyone has made that, or if you have any Advent throw blanket recommendations, I know there's the what's it called? The habitation throw is another one that I really like the look of. But I don't know, I also kind of want a square vibe, and I'm like, is this the time where I learn how to crochet? I don't know, I'm nervous. But if anyone has any thoughts they want to share on that, around Advent specifically, I would really appreciate it. I am wanting to have a game plan before December 1st. So, but also Chelsea Yarns related, I have been going back and watching all of their old Vlogmas videos, and Christina and her husband are such a hoot. Yeah, I'm like loving their videos. I've like watched a few of their videos before this, but I don't know what came over me. I was just like, I need a Vlogmas to watch. I'm like, if I just wait a month, there's gonna be plenty of Vlogmas videos coming out, but they are just so funny. So that is my current like hyperfixation, is Chelsea Yarns Vlogmas. I've already made it through all of 2022, and then right now I went all the way back to 2020 and I'm watching all that way through, so it's a good time. And then let's see. Okay, so that was Cake Palooza. Love that. Again, I was like trying to really hold back on the shopping because I just didn't want to like overdo it this year. And I wanted to practice some restraint. I'm like, I don't really need, you know, that much more yarn in my stash. So I just wanted to get like little bits and things that I was really excited about. So I'm feeling good about my purchases that I have. But there's obviously, I mean, there's so many amazing vendors that I wish I could shop everything. So both Indie Untangled and Cake Palooza were in Saugerties, if I remember correctly. So everything's like kind of 15 minutes away from each other in that area. So after Cake Palooza, we were feeling like we could use a little bit of a lunch break, so we decided to drive back to our Airbnb, get some food, kind of refuel, take like a half hour just to sit and knit and like chill out. So because we were going to Woolfolk, so we did that and then made it over to Woolfolk maybe, I don't know, maybe around 3:30, between 3 and 3:30. We were only there for the last bit of it. It was not a maze, as you've probably seen if you're following any of the Rhinebeck updates, post Rhinebeck reflections. So for Woolfolk purchases, I actually bought 3 things. The first was from Mabel, and she was also at New York Sheep and Wool, which was very exciting to see her stuff both days. But I have a tote bag from her that I bought online that I love. All of her stuff is made out of like quilts. I think it's like recycled quilt material essentially. So this is a little dop kit bag. It has a zipper. So I thought this would just be a nice, like this is just a nice sized bag for a little knitting project, or like notions and stuff, can kind of just toss it in wherever. And then from there I made it to, now I will reveal what's in my Black Pearl Magic bag. I made it to Kiaras booth for a little batt. Isn't it so cute? It's merino and sari silk, and I am very excited to spin it up. You can't see, she has this really cool like embossed logo on her, on the little band. So yeah, she's Kiara XYZ on Instagram, and I've been following Kiara for a while, and I think we're technically neighbors because I think she's just over in Jersey. And she just has like a lot of fun fiber stuff. She does a lot of spinning herself, sells a lot of her handspun, and so I was excited to see her stuff in person and pick up one of her batts. So I usually don't spin, like, this is basically, this is merino. It says 98% merino, 2% sari silk. So I usually don't spin that much merino, so this will be a good challenge for my spinning because I kind of stick to what I consider the easier, less fine wools, like Rambouillet. Just gives me a hard time, so I stay away from the Rambouillet, and I stay away from the merino a lot of the time too. So that'll be fun. One more Woolfolk purchase, which is more fiber. So 316 Dye Studio, who I mentioned earlier, because of the hand spun in this sweater. She is from Wichita, Kansas, which is not far from my hometown of Kansas City. And there was a local fiber festival in the Midwest that my sister went to, and that's where she purchased the 316 braids that she gave to me and that I spun up into this. So I was very excited to finally see 316 Dyed Studio in person. I've since ordered, I totally forgot that I wanted to shop her special show colorway, which was called Upstate New York. I think she had it in like a separate rack on her booth, and like by the time I got there it was like end of the day, and I just had completely forgotten that she had posted about that on Instagram like before, and then I was like, I want to shop this. So when I got to her booth, it just like totally blanked in my mind, but I've ordered it online and it's coming in the mail and I'm so excited. But I did buy these two in person when I was there. So this one is really, really pretty. I think it's gonna be really subtle and gorgeous, all spun up. It is called Garden Meadow and it's on Polworth. So that'll be really pretty. Excited. I've been like waiting to break into these after I showed you. And this one, which my sister also got, it's just like so autumnal and pretty, is called Autumn Roads, and this is her Polworth yak and silk base. So I don't know that I've ever spun a yak blend before, so that should be interesting and exciting. So that was the end of Woolfolk. And after that, so Woolfolk was in Catskill, New York, which is a cute little town. It's very teeny, very teeny tiny, but super cute. And there is a brewery, I don't know what you call it, right across the street from where the Woolfolk event was, called Left Bank Ciders. And I'd been there before on like previous trips to Catskill, so when our crew kind of hit our limit for the day, we decided to walk over to Left Bank Ciders, and we had a nice hot spiked cider and did some knitting and just kind of like decompressed from the day. That was Friday. We went back to our Airbnb and just hung out, did some more knitting, ate some dinner, and had to get to bed early so we could go to New York Sheep and Wool the next day. Last year we were like really good about being really early on Saturday, and you know, got a really good parking spot and stood in line to get in, and spent the whole day there. So this year I think we felt like we could kind of be a little bit more chill about things on Saturday for New York Sheep and Wool, and had a nice like breakfast that morning. I think we made pancakes, and yeah, kind of moseyed on over to New York Sheep and Wool and did some shopping. We went both Saturday. We went like pretty much, when did we leave on Saturday? I think we stayed like pretty much all day Saturday, and then we also went back Sunday morning, and left around lunchtime and drove back to the city. So that was always our plan, to do both days to some extent. So I felt a little bit more like I could browse on Saturday and then do some actual shopping on Sunday to kind of like have some time to think about my purchases. And yeah, I'm like, what did I get? The big purchase I feel like that I made, the really exciting one. So as I mentioned, sorry for the crinkling, I wasn't really spinning last year at Rhinebeck time. So this year I was like, my main top priority is a fleece. I want to shop at the fleece barn. I want to do the whole thing, and I did. I got there like Saturday afternoon, ran into Haley from the knit weekend there, which was so fun to meet her in person and talk to her and her mother-in-law. And then I found my little Shetland fleece. So this is it. I'm not gonna open it up because it's gonna smell like a sheep, but it's a lamb's fleece. It's only 1 pound, so pretty like a pretty manageable size for me. I think the other fleeces that I have were in the like 3 to 6 pound range, I think, if I remember correctly, maybe 4 to 6. I'm really excited about this little lamb fleece. I wanted a white fleece. That was kind of like all I really cared about because my other 2 fleeces that I have are gray, so I wanted some white to work with. And this one looked really clean. It's super soft because it's a lamb, and I'm excited. So I do have plans to film a little fleece cleaning vlog in a in my apartment, just to show you what it looks like to scour a fleece in a New York City sized bathroom. I am wanting to get that up before the end of November, so hopefully in a couple weeks, and then it'll be December, and I'm tinkering with the idea of maybe a Vlogmas of some sort, but a like every other day, kind of 12 days of Vlogmas style. Back to Rhinebeck purchases. So fleece was the big thing, and then I did end up purchasing some yarn. All of my yarn purchases were on Sunday because I wanted some time to like really think about it. I think we went to the Junction Fiber Mill booth like maybe a dozen times. We love them. I say we, my mom and my sisters were big fans. My mom had knit her sheep camp out of all Junction Fiber Mill. It looked amazing. And my sister Paige had knit their Torkel. So yeah, my sister Camille shopped their booth on Saturday, and I was like, I can't leave Rhinebeck without shopping Junction Fiber Mill as well. So I picked up some skeins to make a little Torkel scarf, which is it's I feel like it's a very similar size to the Sophie scarf, but is a very fun and interesting kind of color work short row pattern. So I'm gonna do it with these. I wanted something more like neutrally. This is their, whoa, crazy colors. This is their Valley Fog color. So they're making tracks is like all of their fractal spun yarn, and they call it DK weight, but I feel like it's kind of more of a worsted weight. It's only 210 yards, but it's very plump. So this is all dyed and obviously spun by Junction Fiber Mill. And then I got a skein of their Farm Fresh, which is, this is from their Settlement Farm, like fleece batch. And it is Montdale and Cheviot. I've heard that breed pronounced a few different ways, so I don't know the actual correct way to say it, but that's how I will say it today. And yeah, so it's all grown and spun in Vermont. Nice creamy white. So I think this will be cute, and I'm excited. They had a whole Torkel along and had a meetup on the hill. It was very cute, and like really definitely motivated me to make this purchase because I want to make one now. So that was good. So my other yarn purchase was a good one, if I may say so myself. But first I will start off with, I bought this book, the Grand Shetland Adventure Knits book, which is the new Gudrun Johnston and Mary Jane Mucklestone book that came out. It has a lot of really cute, cozy patterns, lots of color work, very like classic traditional knits, and yeah, all the photos that I saw before I bought the book of the different patterns, I really felt like I could make like the majority of them, you know, and I feel like that's not always the case with the magazine or book. At least for me, there's always like one or maybe two that I'm really interested in, but this one I'm like, I want to go through the whole book and knit everything. So I made a purchase to knit something from the book, and it is the Island to Island vest. I was like, what is the name of it? So it's by Mary Jane, and it is this very cute and classic colorwork vest. I think those are the only photos of it. Yeah. And she knit her sample out of Nash Island Tide, which I think is fingering sport weight. And they had a booth at New York Sheep and Wool. So I was like, I've got to shop. I feel like it's a very similar kind of vibe to the Purl Soho Good Wool, which you know that I love. It's the kind of perfect amount of rustic, but is still soft. So basically it's my dream yarn is what I'm saying. And they have amazing colors. So I was like, I have to get something to make this vest right now. And so I went with this brown as like the main color, which is the background color and like the ribbing color. Maybe this brown, which I think is really pretty. And then you need 3 contrast colors, but 4 skeins. So these are the ones that I got. You'll kind of like, look at that. I guess you don't really need that one. Cute. So I can't wait to see how this knits up. I've told myself I can't cast on anything new until I finish like all of my whips. So maybe in the new year I will get to cast on this vest and my Torquil. While I was in the bookstore section of the New York Sheep and Wool, I also picked up this pom-pom issue of Farmer's Daughter Fibers, or the Candace English issue. There's a lot of great patterns in here too, and they had a whole rack of the samples there. And this blue one, I think these two are the same pattern, but I don't even like baubles that much, but seeing this in person, I really wanted to make it. I think it was like so soft. It was also the yarn choice was gorge. Oh yeah, but these mittens I think are gonna be the first ones that I make. They're super cute. Okay, my last 2 purchases are cute little ones. This guy I'm so excited about is a Nutiden. I think that's the right word for it. I have no idea what the name of the booth was that I bought this from. I got it in, or he, gave it to me in this brown paper bag. It's like a very cute old man who I purchased it from. I think he made all these by hand. I have no idea. So I just like wanted one to have for like winding small amounts of yarn, and this is what I got. So it's very cute. We tried it out that evening after I got it. I think I got it on Saturday, and my sister hand wound her one of her new skeins of yarn with it, and it works. So we had to watch a few YouTube videos, but we figured it out. And then my very last Rhinebeck purchase, I feel like I've been talking for 5 hours now, was buttons. Yay! Had to stop at the button, the infamous button Booth, and I've been needing some buttons for that pink cardigan that I knit earlier this year. It still doesn't have any buttons, so I'm excited to put these on it. So to wrap up, I just want to talk very, very quickly and briefly about some spinning that I've been doing, because I've been doing a lot. First up, so Rachel Smith of Wool and Spinning did a spin to knit along with Andrea Mowry. It started, I think, in July. Like, it started on Tour de Fleece time and then ended in September, maybe? So the whole thing was for a spin to knit the Attune Shawl, which is an Andrea Mowry pattern. I have been wanting to make a hand knit, not a hand knit. I've been wanting to spin for a shawl, and I really like the Attune Shawl. I have the pattern already. I haven't made one. I started one, but then I stopped. It just wasn't the right yarn choice for it, but so I wanted to join in on the spin to knit along, but I didn't start spinning for it until it was basically over. So I've just been doing, you know, I'm on my own timeline, my own schedule. But I finally finished the yarns that I've been spinning for it, and it's so much yarn. So where do I start? First up, this is my main color. I wanted a neutral, so it is one ply is Nest Fiber BFL, and then the other ply is a Melly Knits batt. So the batt was like mostly kind of like white fleece, but had some like pinky toned and like yellow mohair and silk, I think, in it. I forget what the fiber makeup of it was, but finish this. This is like, I don't even know how many yards of fingering weight. This is 8 ounces. So it was a 4-ounce batt and a 4-ounce braid of BFL comb top plied together. I started out on my Ashford e-spinner spinning the BFL singles, and I like the e-spinner for plying, but I am not loving it, at least right now, for spinning singles. I like to do that on my treadle wheel, and I feel like it also helps me, I don't know, I have a better like rhythm for singles when I'm treadling. I just enjoy the process more, even though it can feel like it's slower. So yeah, excited about that. And then this was a big combo spin of 3 different Nest Fiber braids, 3 different like club colorways that I've decided to put together. And essentially I took the braids all apart, broke them up into tiny little bits, put them in a basket, and then I would just pull random little bits and spin it, all the colors up randomly. So it came out with this kind of crazy colorful yarn. Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see how it knits up. It was kind of funny how there are random bits of color that like matched up. Like, how does that happen? This is also 8 ounces. I was aiming for more of a sport weight with this one. I haven't done any measurements yet, but it kind of poofed up. So I think it could be leaning towards a very light DK, possibly. But mostly sport. So that was good. I did the whole made a control card, was really meticulous about checking as I was spinning, and I'm really happy with how those came out. And those were two big spins. And so I spun the singles. The nest fiber one, the colorful one, was completely spun on my Lindrum double treadle. I spun the singles there. I have been using my fast flyer, like the large swirl. My fast flyer is kind of my favorite spot to be. And so that's what I spun all my singles on. And then I switched out my wheel to the jumbo flyer, which means I can fit like an 8-ounce bobbin on it and use that to ply that yarn. Which literally took me like maybe 5 hours total. I don't know. I didn't calculate it because I did it in pieces because it was taking so long, but it truly felt like it took me forever to ply that yarn. I was like, I don't know if I can do these like plying 8 ounces at once, because that is just a lot. Final bit. I've been making bats. I pulled out my drum carder, I don't know, last week, and was just like going crazy with making bats. Sorry, I'm folding this little guy up. So here's one that I made that I'm really excited to spin up. I've been experimenting with mixing the fleece that I've washed. I have a Fin fleece and a CVM Rambouillet Cotswold cross fleece. They're both gray. They're both kind of like in the medium wool feeling world. So I've been having a lot of fun, like kind of using that fleece as a base layer and then mixing a bunch of different comb top and different like fibers on top of that. So this one specifically I think is, and this is a small one because it kind of came, it started as like leftover bits on the carder, so here you can see the inside of it. So I think, yeah, there's not like a ton of fleece in this one. It's just kind of like a little light layer of some leftover fleece from a different bat. And then I played with putting, let's see, I think this is some like Targhee or Falkland on top. I can't remember which one. And then the pink is a Merino Rose Silk from Nest Fiber. And then this purple silk is a Corriedale Rami Silk combo from Woolfiend. So I have just been pulling out all of my fiber and just been kind of picking pieces apart and playing around. So I'm excited to see how this spins up. So I'm like really feeling the bat vibe right now. This one, I can't wait to see how it spins up. Is like one of my more blended bats that I've made. So still starting out with that gray, you can see under here. This is the underside. Starting out with the gray base and then mixing in a lot of like orange and pink and red bits on top of it. This one I put through the carder 3 times, which is why it is super blendy. I am learning like how to, I don't know, to what extent I want to blend the fibers together, because it is really fun when you're spinning to kind of get bits of like a silk pop or something like that. So I'm experimenting, having fun. But and then there's 3 bats that I made that I've already spun up. So let's see. It all started with this fiber actually. This is mostly fleece. It is the CVM cross fleece mixed with some white Targhee fleece, which makes it like a really nice light gray. And then I put some Merino Rose Silk in there. And then, oh wait, did I do that? Yeah, I did. Just like a teeny bit of that. And then there's some merino with like silk slubs, and then also just some silk noils, which you get the big kind of like more chunky pieces. Now that I've, so yeah, I need to like measure and like take notes on how this ended up. I have just been doing my like default spin on these, just because there's no real plan other than to see how my batt that I made spins up. This one was my second one. It's just gray fleece mixed with merino rose silk, which is the pink, and then I added a bunch of sari silk. So it has a lot more of like a pink, there's a lot more pink bits to it, and also has some like silk slubs. So I really like how this one turned out. And I don't know, I might put these together in like a hat. I don't know. I can't decide. This one is my last one, and then I will let you go. I made a batt. I was like, I want to make like a really dark and moody batt, and was really happy with how it turned out. Maybe I'll like put a photo in here if I remember, and was really excited to see how it spun up. So this one is like much more of a darker gray, has a lot of like blue and brown, and there's even some like little, it's like so hard to pick up, it's so teeny, there's some teeny tiny purple hints throughout, but it is mostly thin fleece. There's a little, where is it? There's a little purple bit up there. Mostly thin fleece, and then a lot of targi and some merino rose silk again, I think, and then that Corriedale Rami silk combo as well on top as like a light layer. So yeah, I think I'm like, I want more silk pops from here. It definitely like poofed up a lot, I think, from the targi that's in here, so it's very like bouncy feeling. I spun all of these. My default is just short forward draft, and I'm finding that I really love a woolen prep, like spinning from a batt but spinning it in a worsted draft. But I also haven't really perfected long draw, so I think if I was really good at long draw, then I would probably love that. I do love a woolen yarn, but I need to practice. I also love the definition that comes from a worsted draft. I don't know. There's just so much you can do. So yeah, that's where I'm at with my spinning. I have a lot more ideas for batts and stuff, so I'm sure I will post about that on my Instagram as those things are made. And yeah, you can follow me over there if you would like. I started a little highlight in my Instagram. Those I feel like are just, I like to go back and like look at my thing. So I've got one for spinning and knitting, and now there's like a batt specific one. I have a weaving one. I've been weaving on my table loom some, but was really focused on knitting for Rhinebeck, and then as soon as I got back from Rhinebeck, all I wanted to do was spin. So my weaving hasn't gotten a lot of attention recently, but I have a warp on there that I'm really excited about. It's overshot with some of my handspun, and I'm almost at the end of the warp, so that'll be really fun to take it off. And then I'll have to start the warping process all over again, which is quite an endeavor, even for a table loom. It feels like, oh, it takes so long. But I do love weaving. Like when I actually sit down and like get into the flow of weaving, it's so fun. So yeah, I have some ideas for what I want to make with what's coming off of my table loom. I have a max weaving width of, I think, maybe 15 inches. So I'm thinking of doing some sort of like pieced wall hanging art type thing with a variety of pieces. Okay, I have been talking for too long. I need some water, I need some lunch. So I think I'll call it there. Have a great rest of your day, and thank you so much for watching.